The alliance we forged today will echo through the stars.
What are your terms?
Unwavering loyalty and the strength of your fleet.
The royal space dock of the Xyrelian Empire was silent in a way it had never been before. Massive alien ships floated without movement. War banners hung still in the artificial air. At the center of the dock stood the Heart Engine, the most powerful machine in the known galaxy. For the first time in 10,000 cycles, the Heart Engine was not responding. Alien engineers with silver skin and glowing eyes rushed around the platform in panic. They pressed panels, shouted commands, and argued in sharp alien voices. Nothing worked. The engine stayed dark, quiet, and cold. This machine powered the Queen's fleets, her cities, and her authority. Without it, the Empire was weak. Without it, enemies would come. High above them, on a raised throne of black crystal, the alien Queen watched in silence. Her eyes were calm, but the dock felt her anger. No one dared to meet her gaze. Among the crowd of shining armor and advanced tools stood someone who did not belong. A human mechanic. His clothes were old and stained with oil. His hands were rough, not glowing. His face showed no fear, only focus. He stood at the edge of the platform, ignored by everyone. Aliens walked past him as if he were invisible. Some laughed softly. Some whispered, asking why a human slave was even allowed inside the royal dock. The human's name was Elias. He had worked in alien stations since he was a child, fixing broken doors, damaged wires, and forgotten machines. He was never asked for opinions, only for repairs. Elias looked at the Heart Engine differently. He did not rush. He did not shout. He simply watched, listening to the low hum that no one else seemed to hear. An elder alien engineer slammed a claw on the control panel. "This machine is dead," he said angrily. "It has finally failed." Elias slowly shook his head. "It is not dead," he said quietly. "It is scared." The words were simple, but they cut through the noise of the dock. Nearby aliens turned and stared at him. Then laughter spread, sharp and cruel. "A machine cannot feel fear," one alien mocked. "A human does not understand royal technology," another said. Elias said nothing more. He kept looking at the engine. His eyes followed the cracks, the faded symbols, the old design hidden under layers of upgrades. Above them all, the alien Queen leaned forward slightly. She had heard the human. Her voice echoed across the dock, calm and dangerous. "Bring the human to me." The laughter died instantly. Guards hesitated, confused. No one questioned the Queen. Elias was pushed forward until he stood alone before the throne. He felt thousands of alien eyes on him. Still, he did not bow. He only lowered his head slightly, out of respect, not fear. "You claim my Heart Engine feels fear," the Queen said. Her voice was smooth, but heavy with power. "Explain." Elias took a slow breath. "This machine is old," he said. "It was built before your empire learned to control everything. It listens. It remembers." The dock grew colder. Some engineers looked uneasy. These were truths buried in forbidden archives. The Queen's eyes narrowed with interest. "Then why does it refuse to work?" she asked. "Because it no longer trusts who commands it," Elias said. "It was treated like a tool, not a partner." A loud protest rose from the nobles and engineers. How dare a human speak this way? "This is treason." The Queen raised one hand. Silence returned instantly. She stood from her throne. Each step toward the engine echoed like thunder. She stopped beside Elias, towering over him. "Touch it," she ordered. Gasps filled the dock. No human had ever been allowed near the Heart Engine. Guards tightened their grip on their weapons. Elias stepped forward slowly. He placed his hand on the cold metal surface. He did not force it. He did not activate any controls. He whispered softly, in a human language no alien understood. The engine responded. A faint light flickered, then another. The hum grew warmer, deeper, alive. Engineers froze in shock. Data screens lit up without commands. Ancient symbols appeared, long forgotten. The Queen's breath caught for the first time in centuries. At that moment, if you are enjoying this story, gently consider subscribing to this channel, so you never miss what happens next in this incredible journey. The Heart Engine pulsed once, strong and clear, and the galaxy took its first step toward kneeling. The light inside the heart engine did not fade. Instead, it grew slow and steady, like a waking heart. Alien engineers stepped back in fear. Some dropped their tools. Others stared at the data screens that now showed symbols older than their empire. No alarms rang. No warnings appeared. The engine was calm, and that scared them more than silence. Elias kept his hand on the metal surface. He felt a deep vibration, gentle but powerful, like the engine was breathing. He closed his eyes for a moment, listening. The Queen watched him closely. She had ruled wars and crushed rebellions, yet she had never seen a machine respond like this, especially not to a human. "Speak," she ordered the engineers. "Tell me what you see." A young scientist stepped forward, shaking. "The engine systems are unlocking on their own," he said. "Not control systems. Memory systems." A heavy silence filled the dock. Memory systems were sealed even from the Queen. They held truths no ruler wanted questioned. Elias slowly removed his hand. The engine stayed awake. It did not shut down. It did not resist. He did nothing. One noble hissed. "No commands, no tools." Elias turned to face them. "I did listen," he said simply. That made the nobles angry. To them, listening was weakness. Machines were made to obey. The Queen raised her hand again. Her eyes never left Elias. "You hear machines," she said. "Explain how." Elias hesitated, not out of fear, but because no one had ever asked him this before. "I grew up in broken places," he said. "Old stations, abandoned ships, places where machines were left to die." The dock lights dimmed slightly. The heart engine pulsed once, as if reacting to his words. "I fixed what others threw away," Elias continued. "I learned that machines speak through patterns, through stress, through silence." Some engineers scoffed. Others listened despite themselves. "They are not alive like us," Elias said, "but they remember how they are treated. They respond to care." The Queen took a slow step closer. Her long shadow covered Elias. "And my engine," she said. "What does it remember?" Elias looked up at the massive structure. His voice grew quieter. "It remembers war. It remembers being forced. It remembers screaming commands." The dock grew colder. A few ancient aliens exchanged uneasy glances. "The heart engine was never meant to be ruled," Elias said. "It was meant to choose." That sentence hit harder than any insult. The nobles erupted in outrage. "This is heresy. This is manipulation." The Queen did not silence them immediately. She watched Elias instead. "And why you?" she asked. "Why does it listen to a human?" Elias swallowed. "Humans survive by adapting," he said. "We listen because we are weak. We fix because we cannot replace." The engine glowed brighter. New pathways lit across its surface. Alien scientists gasped as systems thought dead came online. One shouted, "The engine is bypassing royal command layers." Guards raised their weapons. Fear spread like fire. If the engine rejected authority, the empire would fall. Elias raised both hands slowly. "Do not threaten it," he said. "It will shut down again." The Queen made a sharp gesture. Weapons lowered at once. "Continue," she commanded. Elias placed his hand back on the engine. This time the vibration changed. Images flooded the screens. Stars forming. Empires rising and falling. The engine was showing its memories. "This machine is older than your crown," Elias said. "It has seen rulers come and go. It waits for balance, not control." A senior engineer collapsed to his knees. "This is impossible," he whispered. The Queen felt something unfamiliar. Not fear, but doubt. "For centuries," she said slowly, "this engine obeyed. Because it was tired," Elias replied, "and because no one asked." The dock trembled softly, not in warning, but in agreement. The Queen turned away from the crowd, facing the engine directly. For the first time, she spoke without command in her voice. "What do you want?" she asked it. The heart engine responded with a single pulse, then projected a symbol across the dock. A simple mark, ancient and clear. Translation system struggled, then locked onto a forbidden archive. The word appeared, glowing. Harmony. Every alien present felt it. The meaning went beyond language, beyond power. The queen slowly turned back to Elias. Her voice was quiet now. "You have done what no one else could," she said. Elias lowered his head. "I only listened." And in that moment, the Empire realized something terrifying. The most powerful machine in the galaxy had not awakened for a queen. It had awakened for a human mechanic. The dock remained silent long after the word harmony faded from the air. No one spoke. No one moved. Even the guards seemed unsure of what to protect now. The queen dismissed the crowd with a slow wave of her hand. Engineers and nobles backed away, confused and afraid. Heavy doors sealed the chamber, leaving only the queen, the hard engine, and the human mechanic. Elias felt the weight of the room press against him. This silence was different. It was not empty. It was waiting. "You will speak freely now," the queen said. "There are no witnesses." Elias nodded. He did not feel relief. He felt danger. "For centuries," the queen continued, "my people searched for control. We mastered fleets, weapons, and stars. Yet this engine rejected us today." She stepped closer to the hard engine. Its light softened when she approached. Not hostile, but distant. "Tell me the truth," she said. "Why did it answer you?" Elias looked at his hands. They were shaking slightly now, not from fear of death, but from the weight of being seen. "Because I did not ask it to serve," he said. "I asked it what was wrong." The queen studied him carefully. "You speak as if it is alive." "It is not alive like us," Elias replied, "but it was created with choice." That choice was forgotten. The hard engine pulsed once, slow and steady, as if confirming his words. The queen felt something shift inside her, a memory she had buried deep, a lesson taught to her as a child, that rulers were chosen by strength alone. "Do you know what this engine truly is?" she asked. Elias hesitated again, then nodded. "It is not just a power source," he said. "It is a judge." The queen's eyes narrowed. "A judge of what?" "Of balance," Elias said. "Of restraint. Of intent." The lights in the chamber dimmed further. Ancient symbols glowed faintly along the engine's surface. "This engine was built before empires," Elias continued. "Before crowns. It was meant to guide those who protect life, not rule it." The queen turned away from him. Her reflection stretched across the dark metal. "Then why did it obey us for so long?" she asked. "Because it hoped," Elias replied, "and because it waited." The queen laughed softly, a sound no one had heard in decades. "You speak as if it chose to endure suffering." "It did," Elias said, "just like many do." That answer struck deeper than any accusation. The queen's fingers tightened at her side. "You still have not answered my question," she said. "Why you?" Elias raised his eyes to meet hers. For the first time, he did not lower his gaze. "Because humans survive without control," he said. "We fix what we cannot dominate. We listen because we must." The hard engine brightened. Its rhythm matched Elias's breathing. "We were never strong enough to rule machines," Elias continued, "so we learned to understand them." The queen felt a chill. If this was true, then everything her empire believed about humanity was wrong. "You are aware," she said slowly, "that choosing you will anger every noble house." "I do not want to be chosen," Elias replied. "I only want the engine to stop hurting." The chamber shook lightly, not in warning, but in agreement. The queen turned fully toward Elias. Her voice dropped, heavy with meaning. "This engine chooses leaders," she said, "not mechanics." "Then it chose wrong," Elias said. "I do not want power." That was when the queen understood. The engine did not awaken because Elias was special. It awakened because he refused to be. For the first time since her ascension, the queen felt doubt toward her own authority. "If I protect you," she said, "my empire will fracture." "If you do not," Elias replied, "the engine will sleep again." Silence returned, deeper than before. The queen closed her eyes briefly. Images of war, rebellion, and collapse crossed her mind. Then images of peace she had never known. She opened her eyes, resolved. "You will remain at my side," she declared. "Not as a subject, not as a slave." Elias stiffened. But as the one the heart engine listens to, the Queen continued, I will place my rule between you and the galaxy. The engine pulsed strongly, bright and clear, approval without words. Outside the sealed chamber, sensors across the Empire detected the change. Ancient systems waking, old alliances shifting. The Queen turned toward the great doors, her next action already forming. Prepare the galaxy broadcast, she said. It is time they learn. Elias felt a cold certainty settle in his chest. Whatever came next would not be gentle, and somewhere beyond the stars, powers older than empires began to pay attention. The galaxy listened when the Queen spoke. It always did. Her voice carried through star relays, war channels, and trade networks. Every empire paused. Every fleet slowed. On the central broadcast platform, the Queen stood alone. Behind her, the heart engine glowed softly, alive and watching. Beside her stood Elias, the human mechanic, still wearing oil-stained clothes, still looking like someone who did not belong. Across the galaxy, screens lit up. Alien rulers leaned forward. Generals clenched their claws. Merchants stopped counting profits. This is a royal broadcast, the Queen said calmly, by command of the Zyrelian throne. Her words were steady, but tension filled every system. Something felt different. The heart engine's presence reached farther than ever before. For centuries, the Queen continued, this engine powered our dominance. It obeyed our commands. And we believed that made us worthy. Murmurs spread across distant halls. This was not how victory speeches began. Today, she said, the heart engine awakened. Shock rippled through the galaxy. Some rulers rose from their seats. Others whispered emergency orders. It awakened, the Queen repeated, not because of force, not because of rank. Her hand moved slightly, gesturing toward Elias, but because of this human. The reaction was instant. Laughter in some systems, anger in others, outrage everywhere. A human. One alien lord shouted from his throne world, this is madness. The Queen did not respond to him. She continued calmly. This human did what we could not. He listened. He respected. Elias felt the weight of countless eyes on him. His heart pounded, not from pride, but from knowing this moment could destroy him. By ancient law older than our empire, the Queen said, the heart engine has the right to choose who may stand beside it. Silence spread again. Many rulers knew the law. Few believed it still mattered. The engine has chosen, she said. Behind her, the heart engine pulsed. Its light filled the broadcast. Ancient symbols appeared across every screen. By this choice, the Queen declared, I name Elias of Earth as royal mechanic of authority. The galaxy exploded into chaos. Voices shouted over one another. Threats were made openly. Several nobles cut their feeds in fury. This is treason. This weakens us. This invites rebellion. Inside the Zyrelian capital, alarms sounded. Security forces mobilized. Noble houses began moving ships without permission. Elias turned to the Queen. You promised protection, he said quietly. The Queen met his eyes. And I will give it, she replied. She raised her voice again. This order is final. Any who move against the chosen human move against the throne. Across the galaxy, fleets hesitated. Attacking the Queen meant war, but allowing a human this role meant losing control. In the shadows of distant systems, enemies smiled. Old rivals saw opportunity. If the Empire fractures, they whispered, we strike. Reports flooded in. Enemy fleets powering weapons. Border worlds going silent. Allies demanding explanations. The Queen turned from the broadcast platform. The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the galaxy burning with questions. Inside the chamber, Elias exhaled shakily. What happens now, he asked. Now, the Queen said, we see who fears harmony more than war. As if answering her words, warning signals echoed through the palace. Long-range sensors detected multiple warp signatures. Not one fleet, but many. Enemy empires were moving, not united, but hungry. They are coming, a commander reported, testing us. The Queen's expression did not change. They always do, she said. Elias looked back at the hard engine. It pulsed steadily. Not afraid. Ready. What does it want? The Queen asked him quietly. Elias closed his eyes. He listened, not with ears, but with instinct. It does not want blood, he said. It wants understanding. The Queen nodded slowly. Then we will give the galaxy a lesson. Outside the palace, fleets aligned, weapons charged. Old enemies believed a human mechanic made the Empire weak. They were wrong, because for the first time, the Empire was not powered by fear. It was powered by choice. And as the first enemy fleet crossed into Zyrelian space, the hard engine shone brighter than ever before. The galaxy had laughed at the Queen's order, but it would not laugh for long. The first enemy fleet entered Zyrelian space, with weapons charged. Rows of warships spread across the stars like sharp teeth. Their commanders expected panic. They expected fear. Instead, they found silence. No defense fleets rushed forward. No warning shots were fired. The Zyrelian capital remained calm, almost welcoming. Inside the command chamber, generals argued loudly. They are testing us. One shouted, give the order to strike. The Queen stood unmoving. Her eyes were fixed on Elias. What does the engine say? She asked. Elias closed his eyes. He felt the hard engine's steady rhythm. It says they are angry, he replied, and afraid. Fear does not stop fleets, a general snapped. Sometimes it does, Elias said quietly. Across the chamber, tactical screens began to change, not from commands, but from reactions. Enemy ships started reporting small failures, navigation drift, energy fluctuations, weapons refusing to fully charge. The enemy commanders cursed. This is sabotage, one shouted, but no attack came. No explosion, no obvious strike. Elias stepped closer to the projection table. He placed his hand on the surface. Your ships are tired, he said softly. They have been pushed too hard. How are you doing this? The Queen asked, her voice low. I am not, Elias replied. I am reminding them. The hard engine pulsed. A wave of energy moved outward, invisible, gentle, precise. Across the enemy fleet, ancient subsystems awakened. Maintenance protocols, long ignored, took control. Safety locks engaged. Weapons powered down by design. Enemy captains stared in disbelief. They were not under attack. They were being protected from themselves. This is impossible. One enemy lord whispered. Our ships are choosing safety. Back in the capital, alarms did not sound. Instead, data flowed clean and calm. They cannot fire, a Zyrelian officer said, stunned. Not because we stopped them, but because their ships refuse. The Queen slowly smiled, a dangerous, thoughtful smile. Elias opened his eyes. They built their fleets to dominate, he said. They forgot why machines exist. On the edge of enemy space, more fleets gathered. They had heard the reports. Some advanced carefully. Others turned away, uncertain. One enemy commander opened a direct channel. His voice trembled with anger and fear. What weapon is this? He demanded. The Queen answered calmly. No weapon, she said. Only understanding. The channel cut abruptly. Inside the enemy ranks, panic spread faster than battle ever could. If ships could no longer be trusted, then power meant nothing. Elias felt a strain now. Sweat formed on his brow. Listening to so many systems at once was painful. The Queen noticed. You do not have to carry this alone, she said. I know, Elias replied, but someone must listen first. The hard engine brightened again, this time projecting a message across open space. Not words, but patterns, signals of calm and balance. Some enemy ships responded immediately. Shields lowered, weapons disengaged. Others resisted, their systems fighting the change. Those ships shook violently, then went still, powerless but intact. No lives were lost. No worlds burned. Across the galaxy, observers watched in stunned silence. This was not war. This was correction. Reports flooded neutral systems. The human is disabling fleets without killing. The Queen is not conquering. She is ending battles before they begin. In distant empires, ancient leaders grew uneasy. If humans could do this, Then fear was no longer a tool. Back in the capital, a general spoke quietly. "We are winning." The queen shook her head. "No," she said. "We are teaching." Elias stepped back from the table, exhausted. The heart engine dimmed slightly. Satisfied, enemy fleets slowly withdrew. Not defeated, but changed. The stars grew quiet again. But this quiet was different. It was thoughtful, uncertain. Elias looked out at the vast galaxy beyond the chamber windows. "They will not forget this," he said. "No," the queen agreed. "They will fear it." "And fear will bring questions," Elias replied. The queen turned to him. "And questions bring truth." Far beyond Zyrelian space, old records began surfacing. Ancient files unlocked by the heart engine's signal. Files that spoke of humans, not as weak beings, but as something far more dangerous. The galaxy believed the threat had passed. It was wrong, because the real battle had not yet begun, and humanity's true history was about to be revealed. The galaxy did not sleep after the fleets withdrew. Something unseen had been shaken loose. Across distant systems, old data vaults began to unlock, not by force, but by recognition. In the Zyrelian capital, Elias sat alone before a wall of ancient records. The heart engine pulsed softly behind him, guiding, not commanding. The queen stood nearby, silent, watching names and symbols scroll across the screens. "These files were sealed before my crown existed," she said. "They were meant to stay buried," Elias replied. "But machines remember promises." The first record opened fully. It showed a galaxy far older than the current one. Stars arranged differently. Empires smaller. Fear everywhere. At the center of the record stood humans. Not soldiers. Not rulers. But mediators. The queen leaned forward. "Guardians," she read softly. Elias nodded. "Humans were never conquerors," he said. "They were sent where systems collapsed. Where machines failed. Where empires lost control." The screen shifted, showing humans stepping into broken civilizations, repairing power networks, calming unstable AIs, stopping wars before they spread. They listened. The queen whispered. "They always did," Elias said. Another file unlocked, darker than the rest. It showed alien councils meeting in secret, fear in their voices, anger in their plans. "Humans cannot be ruled," one ancient voice said. "They do not seek power. They weaken authority." The queen felt a chill. This fear felt familiar. "They called us dangerous," Elias said quietly. "Not because we fought, but because we refused to." The record showed the truth. Humans removed from councils, their role erased, their history rewritten. "They turned guardians into laborers," the queen said, her voice tight. "They made us small," Elias replied, "so no one would remember what balance looked like." The heart engine pulsed sharply, a sign of pain, not anger. Another record appeared. This one marked forbidden. The queen hesitated, then nodded. The image that followed made her step back. It showed the heart engine itself, being created alongside human minds, linked not by control, but by trust. "You were part of its design," the queen said, stunned. "Not rulers," Elias said. "Partners." The room felt heavier now, as if the truth carried weight. Outside the capital, reports flooded in. Other empires were seeing the same files, the same history, the same lies exposed. Fear spread again, not of the Zyrelians, but of what they had erased. "If this becomes known," the queen said, "the galaxy will change." "It already is," Elias replied. A message broke through the chamber defenses. An ancient neutral empire, requesting contact. Their tone was not hostile. It was apologetic. "They remember," the queen said softly. The heart engine brightened, projecting one final record, a warning written in old human code. "When balance is denied long enough," the message read, "correction will come." The queen felt the meaning settle deep inside her. "This was never about power," she said. "No," Elias replied. "It was about restraint." Guards entered quietly, reporting unrest across the galaxy. Some worlds demanding peace, others preparing desperate attacks. "They are afraid of losing control," the queen said. They always are, Elias answered. The queen turned to him fully now. Her voice carried something new. Respect without distance. What does humanity want? She asked. Elias thought carefully. Not forgiveness, he said. Not revenge. He looked at the hard engine, then back at the queen. Only a chance to fix what was broken. The chamber fell silent again. But this silence was not empty. It was honest. Far across the galaxy, rulers faced a terrible choice. Hold on to fear, or accept balance. The truth about humanity could no longer be erased, and those who built their power on lies felt the ground begin to shift. The queen straightened, decision clear in her eyes. Then it is time, she said, for the galaxy to answer. And somewhere beyond the stars, the first great empire prepared to kneel. The galaxy stood at the edge of a choice it could no longer avoid. Old powers trembled. Ancient empires hesitated. Truth had spread faster than fear ever had. In the great hall of stars, rulers appeared one by one through holograms. Some arrived with pride, some with anger, some with quiet shame. At the center stood the alien queen, the hard engine glowing calmly behind her. Elias stood beside it, still dressed like a mechanic, still carrying no weapon. The hall felt heavy, not with threat, but with expectation. An ancient warlord spoke first. Is this another display of dominance? He demanded. Will you force us to submit? The queen did not answer immediately. She turned to Elias instead. What does it say? She asked softly. Elias closed his eyes. He listened to the engine, to the systems, to the silence between signals. It says they are tired, he replied, tired of ruling through fear. Murmurs spread through the hall. Some rulers scoffed. Others looked away. The queen stepped forward. Her voice carried across every system. I will not threaten you, she said. I will not conquer you. Weapons powered down across the hall. Confusion followed. I will do something no ruler has done before. The queen continued. She turned toward Elias, then toward the hard engine. Slowly, deliberately, she lowered herself and knelt. The hall froze. Systems stuttered. Rulers gasped. The queen of the most powerful empire in the galaxy knelt, not before a human, not before a machine, but before a principle. I kneel, she said clearly, before balance, before restraint, before those who listen instead of dominate. The hard engine shone brighter than ever before, not violently, but warmly. Elias felt tears sting his eyes, not from victory, but from release. One by one, screens across the galaxy showed the same reaction. A trade lord lowered his head. A war council disbanded its fleet. An ancient empire powered down its superweapons. They knelt, not in defeat, but in understanding. Some resisted. A few tried to attack, but their systems refused. Not broken, but protected from destruction. The galaxy learned its final lesson. Power taken collapses. Power shared endures. A voice echoed from a distant system. The humans, it said. Where are they now? Elias stepped forward. They are everywhere, he said. Fixing, listening, waiting. The queen rose slowly. Her authority no longer felt heavy. It felt clear. Let the records be restored, she ordered. Let humanity's true role be known. Across the stars, history changed. Not rewritten, but remembered. The hard engine began its final action, not as a ruler, but as a guide. It released control, sharing its power across systems equally, ending the age of single empires forever. Elias felt the connection loosen, the burden lift. You are free, the queen said to him. So are you, Elias replied. What will you do now? She asked. Elias smiled gently. I will fix what still breaks, he said. He turned and walked away from the throne. No guard stopped him. No one dared. Across the galaxy, humans were no longer ignored, no longer hidden, no longer erased. They were not crowned. They were not feared. They were trusted. As the stars settled into a new quiet, the hard engine dimmed, satisfied, and the galaxy understood the truth at last. Humans were never weak. They were patient, and when the time came, the galaxy did not fall to humanity. It knelt beside them,